Well, hello everyone. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Heimo van Nykirk? That's a great last name, man. Nadav. Hello, hello. Arno, just to start answering some questions. I think it's a lot bigger than your normal DIY CNC machine that you're going to find, 400 millimeters squared. Yeah, swim. I'm putting myself out there. It takes a lot to get these videos out. But hi, Danny. What's up, man? Let's have a talk. I wonder if I can make it. Hey, Danny, I'm going to make you an administrator, man. If anybody misbehaves, you can put them in timeout or do other things. So you're one of the bosses around here. Hi, Francis. Nice to see you, man. Hi, Kay Brickman. Nice to see you. Netherlands. Nice. So I think I have my mic turned. I might need to adjust the sensitivity on this. I gotta remember how to do that. Properties. Yeah, I have to change that when I step away from the monitor. I'll just put that over there for me and down there. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Once again, we're kind of doing amateur hour. I mean, I think when I'm standing right up to this mic, it's actually pretty professional. But this is a dynamic mic, so it clips off the tops of the waveform, so it doesn't. You guys don't hear that horrible blown out speaker buzzing. But the farther I step away from it, the more the room. I mean, I am having to kind of shout, and yeah. So we'll do what we can though. Soon. Like I said before in the last one, I will be getting a new shop, and sometime in the next 6 months to a year, and I'll be decking that shop up professionally, so that it's no longer amateur hour. Because I mean, it's just got a little Sony point and shoot. This is my professional camera for. I do most of the videos on this one, and I could hook this up to the stream and get a more interesting shot, but the problem is it gets blurry. Like it has depth of field, which gives great. It looks great, but it's hard to, especially live. It's hard to deal with. You can mesh up the shot pretty easily. So the point and shoot for the least likely, you know, technical issues. Although last time, if you guys, for those of you who were stuck around here last time, um, the camera here like shut off. It went black because it overheated, and that happened at about the 2 hour mark, maybe 2.5 hours. So we'll see how long. I can always open. There's a door, sliding door right behind the camera, so I can always open the door, let some cold air in, and cool that camera off. But we'll see. Amateur hour, but I don't know. Hey, I got 200 people. No, how many people are watching? I don't know. I'm not looking at my live stream. I'm looking at the dashboard. Howdy, Ben. How you doing? 12 noon. All right. Well, I think it's time to kick this off. How are we looking? That looks good to me. And that's in the shot. That's out of the shot. All right. Let's do that. All right. Well, unfortunately, that blocks. I can look at those if I step to the side. 3 p.m. here in Kentucky. Yep. A little bit later, East Coast time. All right, here we go. So this is the Foxalien CNC machine. And for those of you guys who really watch my channel, you'll know. Here, let me turn this microphone up. That? How are we doing there? Yeah, that's a good volume. Okay. So for those of you who've been watching my channel for the longest time, you'll know that my most successful video of all time is a CNC video. It's actually the video about this stupid little machine, which is no longer for sale. So I have 1 million views on this video, which is just mind-boggling to me. I really stressed myself out to make that video. I think I was about to have a baby at that time, and I don't know, I came up with this goofy Jedi Knight analogy, and I don't know why, but for some reason the YouTube algorithm grabbed a hold of that one, and that's my most successful video. So for a little context, because you guys know me and you know my skills as far as 3D printers go, but I have a master's degree in digital technology from the University of Michigan, and for 2 years there, I was one of the lab techs running the CNC machine. So I got to run like $350,000 5-axis CNC routers. One thing I never did though was route metal. I was never like a machinist. It was always soft materials, wood, lots of foam. We had this like super expensive foam that we did really fine passes on to make carbon fiber molds for the engineers. It's funny because the engineers came over to the architecture department for their Formula SAE cars, and so we were making body panels for them. Yeah, so I do have that experience, and I got into the University of Michigan. I was really lucky to get accepted there, and while I was there, they stole the #1 spot as far as the #1 school in the country goes from Harvard. So it was, I mean, I went there just for the tech. I knew I wanted to get into this, like, 3D printers and all this. So I did my architecture master's and then a tack-on master's, which is the Master of Science in Digital Technology. So CNC machines, as far as my education goes, I'm actually more versed in CNC machines than 3D printers. And it was only after architecture school that I had other projects, and I was sending away my designs to get 3D printed with like shapeways and the like. Hey, Curtis West, thank you, man. Hey, for $10, any question you want to ask, I'll address it directly. You're awesome. Thank you for donating. Did I get 2? Did I miss one? I hope I didn't miss one there. So what was I saying? Oh yeah, so then I picked up 3D printers because I had some personal projects to do, and nobody was talking about these really cheap Chinese 3D printers at the moment when I first started getting into them. All anybody wanted to talk about was Prusa at the time. So I bought Chinese 3D printers and started modifying them, and then I had a channel. So that's how we got here. But CNC machines are, well, they're the most success for my channel, and they are kind of what I like. They're the most challenging. They are the most challenging. So what is a 3D printer except a CNC machine? It's a CNC machine that's a whole lot easier to use than normal CNC subtractive manufacturing CNC machines. And the primary reason for that is because slicer software is pretty well developed, right? It makes our job pretty easy. Although I have to say, with this non-planar, and then I just saw this go on Hackaday. They have the coolest thing I saw last night. I might do a video about it, but apparently the MIT Media Lab, one of the students there getting his PhD or something, came out with he was under extruding on purpose, and so he's making fabric that's flexible because it well, you just got to go look it up. Maybe I'll put a link in my channel or something somewhere. But yeah, so the under extruding on purpose, non-planar printing, 5-axis printing. 3D printing is about to get as complicated as CNC machining. Okay, so this the 2.5D 3D printing that we've been doing is just, it's easy. It's a known quantity. It's, your grandma could do it, right? But the reason that not everybody, and the reason that CNC machines aren't as popular as 3D printing, at least as far as making videos goes, it's just because of how complicated they can be. They are not, the gateway drug to CNC machines has to be 3D printing. It really does. So anyway, this company reached out to me, Foxalien, I guess, and they're making, well, okay, so you know how the Mendel printer is kind of the dominant printer design for 3D printers? Well, I think that, I don't know if it's Shapeoko or Xcarve, or they've kind of got this similar construction style with this beefy beam that goes across for the x-axis, the gantry you would call it. And I think that these guys just figured out a way to nail production, to nail the factory, floor details. And so they're able to produce a machine that's looks to be pretty inexpensive. So I've spent like 5 minutes going over their online stuff. So if you guys have more information for me, go ahead and pop it up in the comments. I figured it would be more fun coming at this blind, so that's what I'm doing. All right, so there's your context. We can talk about this little tiny machine later on, the foundation of my YouTube channel here. I also have another CNC machine that I've been working on off and on for like a year. It's ridiculous, but I've been working so long on that just because, well, I had hopes for it that didn't quite come through. All right, so these are the cuts from that old video about the little machine. All right, check you guys before I get into here. Yeah, defect styles. Yep, that's what those were. Yeah, it'll work. Alexander Sanford. I know that it'll work. It's just what I'm questionable about is whether or not we're gonna get a cut in today. So, like I said, I'm coming in blind. I figured it would be more fun than being perfectly prepared, but I do have Inkscape here open, and I have used Inkscape before to make G-code files for a CNC machine like this. That's the problem with CNC machines, and we'll get into this later, but that's the problem, is the slicer. Call it the slicer. It's the toolpath generating program, and I'm used to using Mastercam when I was working as a lab tech, but Mastercam license is like thousands of dollars, and it's just such a bloated software. Although it's fully professional. So if I had Mastercam, I could do amazing stuff with this. I do plan to do a guitar body. This is big enough to do an electric guitar body. So, but yeah, the slicer, or you call it the slicer, but it's the G-code generating. That's the issue. So I know that this will do great things. It's just a matter of getting the G-code generated. 2 gateways, metal working guys. One on it. Yeah. It's true, metal working guys. And so that's a big thing that we all want. And this machine's not specifically designed to do metal, but I do know, I have received word from Foxalien, they're cutting 5mm thick aluminum with it. So at some point, I would like to get into that. But you're not going to cut steel with this. Anything's possible. It's a nightmare. Don't cut steel. Don't think you're going to cut steel with this. All right, let's break into it. Remember how I say, whenever I'm talking about 3D printers, that your putty knife for getting the parts off the bed should be sharp? Well, see, it's sharp enough to cut the tape on a box. Not so sharp that, just to let you guys know, give you context there. And by the way, Michael Hathaway there, I saw your comments, but sorry I missed them. I was too busy thinking about something else. This has to be the biggest box I've ever received, even bigger than the box my Tevil Little Monster came in. Oh boy. Lower this table and give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at. Well, that's not the best sign. We've already got a loose, errant nut. It looks like if it was a CNC or the 3D printer, it would be the bed holding down nut, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, we got a user's manual. I'm not going to have time to read that on camera. hopefully I know enough of the information that, oh, actually, this is the assembly manual. We might need to use that. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, this looks good so far. This would be, if it's a CNC machine coming out of China, this is one of your high quality ones. Attention to details. That's a metal angle bracket with some zip tie looking things. Let's show you that. Yeah, you see those zip tie looking things? Those are, I'm assuming, to hold the wiring. Now, unfortunately, one of them got broken during shipping. Anyway, that's the box. Pretty clean. So, chaotic or organized? Do I just dump it? I'm dumping it. That's more fun. Let's invite the chaos. What are you guys saying? Yeah, I do think it's pretty similar to a Shapeoko. Shapeoko's got a new fancy model out. I saw that for a minute. I don't remember much about it though. But Shapeoko's got a whole ecosystem, and they're going to be the more professional level machine with help, support, and all that. These guys are after the sort of more bargain customer there. If you think you can figure it out by yourself and don't need help and don't want to spend the extra money. Yeah, the box is a little beat up, and when it arrived on the front porch, my kiddo thought it would be funny to kind of kick it over, so it wasn't sounding the greatest when it arrived, but I think it's a pretty tough machine. I think it'll be okay. We got what looks like the bottom of the machine here, and it's got tape, like packaging tape, going across the bottom. And the machine is made out of some, what would I call this? Particle board. So the tape, kind of like, you know, tape sticks to paper, it takes the paper with it. I'm getting bits of that particle board with the tape. Oh, remember I was supposed to do the Jeopardy theme last time. Hey, what do you guys think? LeVar Burton for the new Jeopardy host? Saw that on the internet the other day. Yeah, I don't like this. This is a little detail. I don't know if this is a beta test unit or what, but it's kind of sucky to have this tape. It just doesn't feel. I mean, it's not going to ruin anything. It's going to be perfectly functional. It just feels. I mean, look at that. You guys can see the particle board being torn up. Now this might be the spoil board. Probably is. It's definitely the spoil board. So something that's like a replaceable, consumable item anyway. Still, it doesn't. I don't like it. Yeah, that's your spoil board. So there's. Yeah, you can see the insert nuts. So those are going to be threaded. You know, they're going to have real aggressive threads that real aggressive threads to thread in from this side. And on this side, there's going to be some clearance, maybe like a 1/4 inch. Yeah, about a 1/4 inch. So you'll be able to cut through this board down into this board by 1/4 of an inch, and that's, well, I don't know, 1/2 inch thick. So it doesn't matter. This is something that's going to get tossed eventually anyway. But drilling all those holes, I guess, hey, it is a CNC machine. I can cut the new spoil board for the machine right on the machine. Let's set that aside here. What are we talking about? You know what? Let's take a look at. Yeah, he would be a good choice, huh? 1600 squared. Yeah, I mean, I meant to say. I mean, you guys know what I meant. It's easier to say 400 mm times 400 mm, but you know, stop blowing me something. Yeah. All right. Okay, I'll stop talking. It's funny because this is upside down, so I'm unpacking it in reverse order. Yeah, back to stop talking and make something. My wife is an introvert, and I've always thought that I was an extrovert, but these last few years, I don't know, I'd say in the last 10 years, I've really embraced my introverted side. So I think it's called an ambivert when you're both. But I do love to talk. Good thing I got a YouTube channel. Well, that is well packaged. It's funny because you guys were saying that, oh, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. You guys were saying that 400 mm square seems kind of small. What can you even make with that? I mean, it's not 4x8, that's for sure. But it is still big enough. And if it was any bigger, I don't even know. Like, it would have to be a garage only kind of deal if it was any bigger. This is the key. Good motor, good spindle motor. Not too bad. Here's the bag that came apart in shipping. And so I've got 2 of these nuts and 4 washers that I've found so far. They must have all fallen out of that bag. Hopefully, here's 3 nuts. Hopefully there's one more in there somewhere. Hopefully it didn't fall out of the box. It's cute. We're clearing away the dust. That's your CNCing. I've got my shop vac under the table there to hopefully. Oh, this is cool, you guys. Well, we've got a height gauge. So this will be, we won't have to use a piece of paper underneath the bit to tell just how high up, you know, to tell our offset. So that's a nice professional touch. I haven't used one of these yet. You know, the Onsrud machines that I was using in my master's degrees, they had like a little laser. So we go zzz, 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 and the laser would be between you. As soon as it cut the beam, it would know the height of that. So a little bit more high speed. But with the last one, that machine I showed you I've got another machine in the garage that I've been playing with. And with both of those, I've got to do the paper trick. I've got to just kind of feel out my paper. Okay, here's my fourth nut. So all those things that fell out of that bag are doing okay. And here's another bag that's coming apart with tools in it. And we got 4 of those. I think we got everything. I don't think we're going to have any missing pieces. Certainly don't need that. No, I might need it eventually. And the cool thing about this machine is it seems to be standalone. The other machines that I've gotten from China are, like you have to have them plugged in to a computer, to a laptop, or you could have them to a desktop. But this machine has this box right here, which is going to be your brain box. I don't know. We're going to look in there. In fact, you know what? That'll be the first thing we do. I don't know what this little mini spoil board's for. Hopefully figure that out. I hope I don't have to read the manual on camera. It'll be boring for all of you. Hopefully I can figure this out quickly. Okay, let's talk about that. What we're looking at here is the drive unit for the, I'm going to assume, yeah, this is the Z drive unit. And we can see a lead screw similar to what we're seeing on 3D printers. But that, yeah, so what's going to happen here is this thread pitch on these, so these are square cut threads, Acme threads, and there's going to be 4 threads, I believe. So if we were to look at the bottom here without this bearing, we would see that there's 4 starts. So there's 4 threads that are winding up together, like 4 strands of a rope, basically. And that allows it to be more aggressive in the pitch, which means that for every turn of this motor, you're going to get more movement up and down this Acme lead screw than you would typically see. Like almost all of the 3D printers have the same pitch. So yeah, that's a nice little deal. There's some springs under the nuts here. So this is going to be your lash compensation nut, basically. Kind of keeps everything tight in there. Things are looking a lot more beefy than a 3D printer, which is good to see. They're not just repurposing 3D printer components, because CNC machines have a lot more forces going through them. So that's what we want. 12mm rod, I think. Yep, 12mm rod for the linear sliders. Now, it's all about tolerance of manufacturing, but in my experience, Chinese linear rods, the bearings have play. They just do. And so hopefully they source some high enough quality linear rod and bearings that we're not going to get any slop, because that's, I mean, the thing about a CNC machine is it has to be as stiff and as slop free as you can possibly make it, because you get chatter in the bit and you really don't want that. So that's the thing. And then of course we've got this higher torque, what is that? Come on. Brain fart. What is the name for that thing? It's like the spiral and the, help me out guys. You know, these things, they're normally spiralized on our 3D printer. The collar that keeps the you know, from the eccentricity. So if the motor and the lead screw are mounted off center to each other, this collar makes up for that eccentricity. Coupler, there you go. Yeah, the flexible coupler. Thank you. Thank you, Beef. Yeah, and then we've got a pretty, this would not be a NEMA 17, so that must be like a NEMA 23 motor up there. And then of course, the best part about it for CNC machines, we've got this little dial right here, which you can grab on the machine, and this will allow you to manually adjust the Z height once it's on. So that's a nice little assembly right there. This is going to be our X gantry, and it's similarly beefy. Also have a knob for sliding it. That knob. Oh yeah, that's just the, those are some beefy stepper motors. I can feel the individual magnet points in it. It's like, is that crusty? It's not like some like shmoo inside there, you know, some like filings from when manufacturing, but no, that's just the magnet. That's just the stepper points. So pretty cool. Wiring is all right. I don't think that's going to get in the way of anything. I would prefer it to be a little bit tighter, but it is what it is. I like this little pigtail with the coats. And then here's the interesting thing. We've got four, put the light on that in the camera. We've got four pulleys, just like we see the, I mean, I'm calling them pulleys. They're those Delrin bearings, or Delrin wheels around some bearings. Michael, this is an ideal product for your thing because it needs to be stronger and stiffer. But what's interesting to me, I don't know if those are spacers. Those are not spacers. Oh no, those are okay. Those are good. Yeah, so the Delrin wheels here are what's carrying all the load. So there's a hint. 4 Delrin wheels, and they've got sliding adjustments. So, I don't know. You guys know what the Shapeoko or X-Carve or whatever, is this the same motion system they're using? I mean, this is what we see on 3D printers, but I see why they did that. It's going to be cheap from the factory. It's going to be like easier. They can lower the cost, you know, for most people who are getting into this and don't want to spend a bunch on a machine. So it's probably going to be a minimum viable motion system. I don't know. I think I could do better. And so, not good. Not good. You need things to be as stiff and as slop-free as possible on a CNC machine. And these nuts here are in sliding tracks. You guys can see that. So to get, oh, you know what though? There is, okay, that's not so bad. I should be able to adjust this out. You see these 2 bolts right here? I tighten those down and those will slide the pulley wheels down so that you can keep them tensioned correctly. But these nuts should also be on the other side. We're just tightening down one side of those wheels so they could cant crookedly. And this sort of a tension, by pinching it, it can still, you're just increasing the friction at the face here. But this nut, or sorry, this bolt could still slide up and down the face. So relying on an extreme bunch of tension here to keep it situated up and down, or I should say radially to the axle, that's not ideal. So you want these types of screws, but you would want 4 of them. Yeah, I would think you'd want 4 of them, but then it's easier for the user to mess it up. So it's a good, inexpensive mechanism. I wouldn't say it's a functional, inexpensive mechanism. I don't know if I could do better. I haven't given it a lot of thought, but it's not perfect. So hopefully it'll work though. It'll work. I'll get it nice and tensioned. And by the way, somebody was saying when we first started the live stream, before I was even talking about this machine, they were saying that it looks like acrylic. This is absolutely not acrylic. That's going to be 5mm thick aluminum everywhere. So all those brackets, there's not a piece of plastic on this machine. It's all metal. All right, ready to start assembling. What do you guys think? My dad painted that. um, yeah. I should talk. I should make comments. I'm gonna read the manual, read comments. I'm gonna do some reading and talking here for a few minutes. All right. Yeah, that'll do. So, I guess would be an upgrade mandatory. Yeah, for a few minutes maybe, but the I guess would be problematic in the long run because you're going to have a lot of wear. There's a lot more forces going through a CNC machine, a lot of lateral forces and whatnot, and so you're going to wear those bushings. I mean, they're calling them dryland bearings, but they're bushings. You know, a bushing is when you don't have anything rolling inside. There's just a slide, and bushings wear out. Just looking through some old comments. Didn't scroll back that far. I gotta scroll back up to the guy who donated. That was a while back. There we go. Curtis, man, thank you. Thank you so much. So yeah, Curtis, if there's anything you want to talk about, let me know. Because you're the man of the moment. Yeah. Danny, it's not 100,000. It's not too bad. There's a few screws there, but I think it's pretty well put together. It's going to be an easy installation. Yeah, you don't for swim. You don't need this beefy of a machine to do laser cutting. It's basically a 3D printer. You don't have any forces going through a laser cutter, so. Yeah, Arno, it's 400 by 400 millimeters. James Jones. Yeah, right? Additive manufacturing versus subtractive manufacturing. All right, show you guys what I'm seeing here. We got the big piece on the floor there, and we're gonna put the spoil board on top of it. Then we're gonna put those two bent brackets on the sides of the spoil board. And then the gantry's already in place, so the gantry just bolts to those two sliding pieces on the side. And then we got to mount the motor with its mount and screws. Then we mount the X or the Z thing to the top. Okay. We got some wire tracks. Let's look into that. Let's look into that electronics package, shall we? We should do that next. And then it's going to teach me how to. Wow, this is really cool. Standalone electronics. I'm really impressed. I've always, like I said, these DIY machines coming from China, I've always had to use the interface for Gerbil. Gerbil's interesting, you guys. Who knows about Gerbil? Anybody? Gerbil is another sort of like, I think it's another MIT project. One of those guys just started programming it for his Arduino. So there's going to be some sort of an Arduino in there. Although it could be, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the electronics are repurposed from 3D printers. All right. Any questions for me? I'm going to go back to it and stop reading stuff. Have a good night. Yep. Yeah, Kerwin, it's going to take me. You might want to check back in an hour or two. It's going to take me a while. This is not a fast burn. This is a slow burn for sure. Goebbels. It's GRBL, Michael. And I don't know. It's pronounced Gerbil, I think. But they might have a bunch of Goebbels. That might be what's. We'll open that box and see if that's what's inside there running the thing. Yeah, just an Arduino Uno. That's what's in here. That's what's in here. It's an Arduino Uno with a shield on top of it. And you can get those all day, every day from China for CNC machines. It's definitely less developed. It's like your Ramps 1.4 shield for Arduino with 3D printers. I mean, 3 years ago that was kind of outdated on 3D printers. So I'm really happy to see a dedicated box, because so many of these machines coming from China still have that like Arduino with the shield. It just shows you how far behind the CNC machines are lagging compared to 3D printers. It's just less developed because there's less money to be made there. So it's a harder egg to crack, or whatever you want to say, from as far as the companies and the perspective of making money and all that. Only needed one pin to turn the motor on off. Yep. V-Orons. Sorry, I can't speak to that. I have no idea what a V-Oron is. Oh, Voron. Voron printers. Yeah, I love them. They're great. Like I said before, the only thing I could say bad about Vorons is they're printed with plastic. So the future of 3D printing is going to be in enclosures. Like, you have to do it. You have to do it. So you're going to have to use some high temperature plastic. So we're going to have to start printing with PEEK, or at least polycarbonate for our Vorons going forward. So it's possible. Anything's possible. And they iterate the crap out of those. So they're making good machines. Looks like a fun project too. Yeah, right. Tormach. And then the other thing, there might be a scorched earth deal going on. Tormach and what did I mention earlier? Come on, what's that company? The Mastercam. You know, Mastercam might have some sort of patents on these tool paths, making it just really hard for the DIYers with open source. I mean, like I've talked about before, patents are godsend for small time inventors, but it's a system that's very, very abused. And so there might be litigious reasons that we're not seeing a lot of development in DIY CNC machines. Weed trimmer nylon. Yep. Go home. A home gamer CNC. Yeah, basically, yeah. DIYer. Yeah, the Lowrider CNC, I should look that up. I seem to remember seeing something about it, but sorry, I can't speak to it. It's not right there at the top of my head. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call, Beef. You know, I've got a patent. I've got a patent on the buckle for bags, and I've never made any money. That project's just lost me like $60,000 or more. It's for sale on Amazon. Go look up PAQ pack bags. You got to put it in quotes because the Amazon search engine doesn't like to show my product. So put the word quotes PAQ BAGS. You'll see my bags and my buckles. And yeah, without a patent, I mean, I really did invent a buckle that everybody can use. And without a patent, the big guys would have just started copying me like today, right? Immediately. And the fact that I can sue them means that the small fish can go swim with the big fish and hopefully start a company. So there's absolutely an argument for patents. It's just that they do get abused. The big companies end up abusing them, and that's mostly what patents get used for. So we're keeping the patent system around just in hopes that small-time innovators can keep things fresh, but mostly it just gets abused. Can you swap in a duet board? I thought of that. But we'll see. We'll see how impressive these electronics are. It might not. I mean, the Duet 3 board is very powerful. Can definitely run this machine, which would be nice to be able to do wireless CNC machining. We'll see. Okay. Well, we're getting into 3D printer topics, so let's get back to building a CNC machine. All right. I'm going to be quiet here for a few minutes and just build. So put some music on in the background. I can't play music, otherwise I have to pay royalties. But I would love to play music for you guys. You know, I don't know why. Oh, gotta turn that mic back. I don't know why I make. Well, I mean, I do know it's fun to make these live videos, but I'm just thinking about it. They're not very good for my channel. I think I lose subscribers whenever I do these. I need to start a live channel, so I'm not using my normal channel to do this. Massive props to these guys for being so well organized. Look at it. I've never had this before. Never in any of these kits. This is a little pillbox to organize the bolts, and they're labeled. I've had the bags before with the labels, but never a pillbox. This is good stuff. Okay, 6 pieces. 5 by 20. Yeah, I'm thinking about tool paths, and what I was talking about earlier, how that, what do they call it? Somebody had it in the comments there, but the Media Lab, the MIT Media Lab project, where they're figuring out ways to use the under extrusion to make textiles with just a normal, like the 3D printers that I normally do. And then you do have the, I mean, when we think of 3D printing, we're just thinking of 2.5D, but it is a CNC machine and it's capable of so much more. So you can have non-planar, under extruded textile weaving. Like there's so much possibility if you open up your tool paths for 3D printers. It's just that it becomes cognitively so difficult. And instead of having a thing, instead of a 3D printer being this like any object you can think of, you can just quickly and easily make it, a 3D printer becomes a production machine in a way, right? You're going to spend a bunch of times, you're going to iterate through a project trying to get it to work, and you're finally going to get it to work, and you're going to be able to make something that you can't make with another process, like with injection molding or something like that. So it's just really cool. That Media Lab project really opens up the possibilities. I mean, in a way, everything's a two-edged sword, right? So in a way, the slicers, which, like I said, are the reason that 3D printers are more developed than CNC machines as far as the DIY or, you know, consumer level machines go. But that it becomes, you know, you become a slave to it. You think that that's the only workflow you ever get used to. And so I think that in order to do a lot of these 2.5D stuff, the guys in academia are using Rhino, which is my CAD program, and they're using a plugin for Rhino called Grasshopper, which is a programming plugin, but it's a graphical interface programming plugin. It's really cool, and you can spit out G-code through Rhino, or so you go Rhino through Grasshopper to spit out G-code, and you can then come up with all these non-planar, you know, toolpaths. What else to call them? So to do stuff like the textiles, it would be a niche. It's like a 3D printer niche, and you could become an expert in it and probably become employed in it. I mean, I can see gigantic FDM machines being used to make geotextiles, you know, to hold soil back, that kind of a thing. Christian, it's the word is from Foxalien that it does cut 5mm aluminum. They have successfully done that. Well, one problem I'm having with these directions is I've got the two angle brackets here, and only one of them has the zip ties for the wiring, and I can't figure out which side that goes on. Yeah, the brackets in the picture don't have they don't have those zip tie things. Oh, I really can't figure this out. Mario, thank you. I will keep up the good work. Info Mario Roos. There should be 2 dust baffles. The one with the wire ties goes on the x-axis gantry. Okay, I'll look for that. I only have these 2. Oh, hey, thank you for your help. Yep, clearly somebody who works there at the company. So there we go. Okay. These were nested. I put them side by side. They're nested, and I thought they were one object. So there we go. So I don't need the zip ties. So that's my confusion. All right. These face outward, just like so. Just like so. And we use 4 by M16s. 4, 5 by M16s. This is the best. This is the best, you guys. I love this little pill case. Never been this easy before with any of these kits. The small details, right? Hey, how many people out there play the ukulele? Chime in. I started with guitar. Wasn't very good. I just didn't practice. Actually, I started with the violin as a kid in middle school. Then I quit orchestra to start wood shop. Then I picked up the guitar in college, and just didn't want to spend the time practicing. I like to sing, so I picked up the ukulele because it's a great instrument to accompany with singing. Any of you guys out there? Too soon. You guys are talking about stuff I'm not paying attention to. Five by 12, 5mm by 12mm. And this side goes up. Okay, I need to adjust the tension on this now before I mount it. I don't think, well, I could get a bolt in under there. I'm just gonna do it. Get that tension right. Get that play out of there. Wheel. Did I miss a Allen key somewhere? There we go. Okay. I need a close-up cam so you guys can, I don't have to mess up my whole shot every time I want to show you guys what I'm doing. It is what it is. I'm just tightening and loosening some bolts. It's not that hard. I worked in bike shops in my 20s, so it helps, you know. The especially with old bikes, it's always those crappy old ones that are so hard to work on that really are the best education. Yeah, so these kinds of you get a feel. You get a feel. It's like literally a feel for the bolts and what they're doing. It's so hard to you can't tell somebody how to do it. You just have to do it. You have to strip a few bolts out and put your hands on these things. But I don't think that getting this tension is too big of a task. I think 90% of guys out there could figure it out. Yeah, this is well made. It really is. Looking good. 5 by 12. Of course, I forgot the lock washers and the regular washers on those 4 bolts. I'm going to do a review on it for sure, Christian. Yeah, for sure, a review. Like this is something that I'm going to have to spend a couple of days with at least, probably more like a week. It's a heck of a thing, but this machine is rigid enough across this gap to cut aluminum. They're getting really good results. So there's a lot of functional things. So, okay, the background. Why I wanted a small DIY CNC machine is I want to make DIY 3D printers. Like, I've got ideas, but all of my ideas I want to stick inside of enclosures, and you can't really do that very well with 3D printed plastic parts. Hence why I haven't tried to compete with Voron, for instance, and make my own 3D printer that way. I mean, it's a heck of a time to develop these. It takes so much time, but and I've got videos to make and all that. But anyway, so yeah, I want to make custom 3D printers, which is why I'm trying to get into a CNC machine that can cut aluminum. So this can do it, and I can cut big gantry pieces and all kinds of stuff on this machine. It'll do it. So I definitely plan to spend time with this machine. As far as upgrading it, the only upgrade, yeah, when I get into the weeds with this, I might be able to tell you something different. But as far as what I'm seeing right here, the only upgrade that I possibly could want to do is to put a Duet 3 control board inside of that box. So we're going to have to look at that box later on. You know what? I bet you that we're going to lose more and more people as time goes on. So let's take a break from assembling, and let's take a look inside of that control box and see what the electronics are made out of. In fact, I'm going to bring... I'm going to do this. Oh, I know how to do this. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing aluminum cutting here in the office. I got this. That's why I moved to the corner here so I can make some sawdust today, have it clean up fairly easily. All right, got my satisfaction there. Got the peeled the sticker off. Nice emergency stop button. Nice to see there, of course, with the CNC machine. Looks good on the outside. We've got all these really great plugs and a nice switch. I would say a significant portion of the expense of this machine is coming from this box here. And I have a ton of screws to take apart to get in there. Looks like 8 screws, and they are Phillips bit. Or a Japanese International Standard, JIS bit. You guys know that the difference, it's funny because just until a couple years ago I hadn't known, but the JIS bits look exactly like Phillips, but they're just slightly different in the geometry. The grind of the corners of the plus sign there they make it less likely that you'll cam out, so you're less likely to strip. How many times do we stick JIS tools into Phillips screws or vice versa? I didn't realize I was competing with Vector Lightspeed. That sucks. I don't know what time should I do these videos? If I don't want to do people have like scheduled times that they're doing these things? I just saw that I get the most viewership for my videos on Sunday. So I thought I actually should do these at like Sunday starting at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. if I want the most viewers, but I don't want to be cutting. Vector 3D, he does good work. I don't want to be competing with him and cutting him out of viewers. That sucks. These are viewers that he could be enjoying. We should be able to work it out so that nobody loses. I mean, there should be enough room for all of us, right? No, none of these are scheduled. I mean, I think I'm going to schedule every other Sunday. I think that's pretty much what I'm going to do. All right. This is a thing. Holy guacamole. That's the thing. What do I do? Wow. I don't. Oh crap. Well, that was soldered on there, and I broke the switch trying to pull the switch. All right, this is the point in time where you guys give me crap. I was not thinking. I'm looking at these connections here, which are spade connectors, and I thought I can pull these off. I thought I could pull those off too, but they were soldered on. So I might have to wire in a new switch there before we can even continue. That sucks. Okay, take a picture of that. Was not paying attention. You know, I didn't think I broke anything. I think I just pulled the PCB out the back of the switch. I might be able to just reassemble that switch. Warranty void if open. Yeah. I don't get a warranty. I mean, I'll say it. I'll say it. I need to say it, I guess. I did not buy this machine. They sent it to me for a review. That's how I do. I don't have any money to buy these machines, you guys. So if you guys see me reviewing a machine, it was sent to me for free. Oh, man. How to this is hilarious. I bet the company, I think they're watching. I bet they're like, what is this guy doing? Taking it apart. He'll never get it working before the end of the show now. They're probably panicked. Don't worry, I've got solutions. We'll be okay. One thing about being a DIYer, if you don't break it, you don't learn how to fix it. So I guarantee you, everybody that you respect that's good at this kind of thing has broken their fair share and just been patient and stubborn enough to not quit, and they get the thing working in the end. You guys see what I've done? I just pulled a little circuit board in the back of it, thinking I was pulling, but this is soldered. All right. So here is what we're looking at. This is going to be your stepper motor controller. Those are some, I mean, under the heatsink here is the actual stepper motor drivers. So those are going to create a lot of heat. I guess this is a sufficient fan. You might have expected to see like 4 fans up and down that. That's not going to be a quiet fan. So, I mean, we don't care about quietness when it comes to CNC machines because they're so loud cutting anyway. So that's really not something we care about. I love the selector switches here. Like, none of this is cheap. This is good stuff. Underneath, we can see that's going to be the power supply. So there's this bracket that goes up and over the top of the power supply. I don't know if it's 24 volts or 12 volts. Voltage is 48 volts. We have some 48 volts and we have some 24 volts. So that's a 48 volt power supply that also has a splitter in there. So we have a couple of 20. So 48 volts must be going, I don't know what that's going to. Maybe to the spindle? That's pretty impressive. Hey, if the company's watching, you should tell us where the 48 volts goes. So underneath this heatsink here must be the controller, like the chip. So I'm going to imagine it's a 32-bit chip. I can't imagine that the screen here, so this is just your touch screen, right? And I can't imagine that touch screen, it's going to be a typical touch screen. And I don't think it would have the controller chip to run the actual CNC controller. So under there is going to be all of it. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 stepper motor drivers as well as the main chip. And I'm not going to pop that off and look at it. But the good news here is that the screen does have the Wi-Fi module built into it. You see that right there at my thumb? That's the Wi-Fi module. But I don't see the SD card reader. See that? The SD card reader is not soldered on. There's a place for it. So that means that this is not something you could ever upgrade unless you wanted to solder on your own SD card reader to update the firmware on that. But this is all that made in China firmware. I don't know. To me, it's not worth my time to try to search. It's so buggy. So I don't know. These guys might be doing something better than normal as far as 3D printers go. But as far as the typical experience I've had with these Chinese screens and everything, it's just leave them alone. Leave them the way the factory sent them to you. And if you want to update and upgrade, then just stick a duet in there. Yeah, except that there's only one line. That line's going this direction. Yeah, I don't know. There's only one single line coming off of that 48 volt plug. You see the 48 volt plug is right there. There's this single, it's a thick, of course it's thick red line, and it's going that direction in the loom. So it's heading up this way. And so this is it's either going, I think it's going here. And that goes, I mean, it's not labeled, so I have no idea what that controls. This is nothing like what I'm used to seeing for 3D printers. This is a CNC controller, so I don't know. You're right, though. It could be for the stepper motors that would give you really good holding power. You know, in fact, I think it's more likely for the stepper motors. This CNC spindle here is not. I have one of these on the other CNC machine in the garage. Nice and powerful, but that's not a 48 volt spindle. That's a yeah. So most likely you're right. It's for the steppers, the 48 volts. All right, let's get this switch fixed. Oh. So there's just these 4 tangs that kind of curl over and grab the little PCB here. Just bending the tangs up, put the PCB back in place, and bend the tangs back down. Easy day. Yeah, this will be easy. Well, these look to be symmetrical, so I don't think it matters which one plugs in where, which is good. There's two identical plugs. So that switch that I broke says compiler mode or controller mode. Oh no, computer, not compiler. Computer mode or controller mode. So you can either be standalone using the touchscreen up here, or you can be connected to your computer like you typically would. And that's what that switch selects between. If you're familiar with scripting languages, iCells, iCastle. Okay, so what does iCastle plug into? Like, can you use it with? Does it have to be used with like Fusion 360, or is it agnostic, program agnostic? It's going to be its own standalone environment. IceSL, okay. The screws, they stuck to the outside of the spindle there. It's a slicer. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I've seen that before. Yep. I just can't see how. I mean, you'd be amazed the functionality that you can get with Rhino, because Rhino plugs into, Rhino has a thing called Iron Python, so you can script your CNC, or I'm sorry, your CAD drawing. You can script it so that the script itself is drawing your CAD through Rhino, and it's Python, which is a really great language. And so because you're directly having planes and lines, you're not talking about triangles of an STL file. So you need a CAD environment to really get powerful G-code generating. And with CNC machining, you pretty much want those surfaces. You really don't want STLs. You don't want STLs because, yeah, you don't want STLs. It'll be bad. You could theoretically use them. I think that some of them use it, but I go on about Rhino. Yeah. So AutoDrop, for everybody else, AutoDrop does a lot of CAD work too, and he's got his programs that he uses. And we have agreed that we're going to do a little versus episode at some point where it's going to be, because every CAD program has its strengths and its weaknesses. So, yeah, use a real parametric modeler. Yep. All right, let's I don't know. What do you guys think of this shot? This is nice and up close. You don't need to see my face. We'll keep assembling like this. I kind of think Rhino has less of a steep learning curve. Um, I don't know. We will get into it. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Crafted. But it's like, what can you afford, you know? And how big of a shop are you? And do you just have one or two jobs? You know, are you trying to be, uh, trying to be a professional, or are you just trying to kind of DIY it? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it gets the job done, I mean, Harbor Freight sells a lot of tools, and there's always better versions out there. Um, so if it gets the job done, it's up to. They've done a nice job so far. So. Did I get all those on? There? No. I mean, I think Crafted. I think that Adam Savage has a line about this. You should look in. I don't know what his quote is. It's something about like you buy the cheapest tool out there that will get the job done, and you use it, and you see if you're going to use it more than once. And if you actually find yourself using it, and then especially if you find yourself breaking it, that's when you go find not like the absolute best. You're not trying to bankrupt yourself, but you find so you go from like this bare minimum functionality to like a really good version of it that you know you're not going to break, and it's really going to live up to what you need. So I think it's just a good life strategy. You know, there's so many things we love in the moment. We think we're super into them, and then you know we kind of get burned out on them. So you never know. You go spend $5,000 on a $10,000 even on a CNC machine, and then it just sits in the corner and you never use it. Um, you know, and then 20 years later, you got something that got like a couple hundred hours on it at best, and nobody wants to buy it anymore. And so I don't know. I think this is a good entry level CNC machine. That's why I wanted to review it. I mean, yeah, SX10. The company tells me that they're cutting 5mm aluminum with it. So I know that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants metal. So that's what I want too. Like I said, I want to make brackets for my DIY 3D printers. Okay, so that gantry's on. Now it's time for the Z. The big daddies. Oh no, those aren't. M5 by 25 cap screws. Oh. Interesting. Okay. Yes, Ghost of Henry, this should cut aluminum. My dad wants a painter too. Painter? Why are we talking about painters? Yeah, I mean, I think though, it's so funny. Everything's available from China, right? It sucks. They even get our hobbies. My dad's gotten into making guitars. Like he just loves making electric guitars. And you can get all these electric guitar kits from China. So this, to me, the most perfect application for this, it's got the right throat, it's got the right throw. You could basically cut out electric guitars with it. Really fun little thing. But the amount of time you're going to, I mean, you can make custom shapes, but if you just want to build a Telecaster or something like that, there's, I guarantee there's one on eBay for cheaper. Aluminum casting this parts. Yeah, so I've got more projects and less time. And yes, I have all of the makings right out there in my garage for a casting rig. All of it. I'm fully planning on that. I even recently acquired some zinc and some, I mean, I could make aluminum bronze, which is a stronger bronze, but I want to go with classic bronze. So I'm going to start bronze casting because aluminum casting is pretty easy. So I figured I'd make it a little more challenging. But yeah, I definitely want to cast some metal. Yep, yep. Bronze blast. You make some cool stuff. It's just, it becomes a question of like, how much time do you have in your life? What, like we're all born with the same number of minutes. I mean, I guess some of us live to be 90, but we kind of stop being productive at what, 50, 60? I got like a good 10, 15 more years of productivity. So what do you choose to spend your time on? If I was smart, I would have learned how to program better. I did program websites when I was in my 20s, but yeah. Crafted. Man, just get an enclosure and printed them in polycarbonate. There's a company reached out to me. Maker's Muse did a review. It's a X Plus Quidi, QUQIDI. They make an enclosed printer. It's not insulated, but if you pumped heat in there somehow, you might be able to get it hot enough. Especially if your parts are small, you could just buy that machine and be printing polycarbonate tomorrow. It's not like all of my projects, which are so intensive, where you gotta build them and understand everything about your machine. And now all the time in the world is never enough. I kind of wish I could be one of those people they got that weird genetic abnormality and they don't need to sleep. There's like a few people like that. But the funny thing is, I mean, I think it affects your brain. They're going to have different brains that work differently. Because I don't think, I mean, that's a pretty rare disease or rare gift, genetic gift. But you never see those guys who never sleep as being really good programmers or anything like that. So I don't know if it's possible to be really smart or to do a really mentally challenging profession and not have to sleep, even if you have the genetic gift. Yeah, this probably is a 32-bit processor. I know this is running GRBL, Gerbil. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's a 32-bit ESP or whatever. Okay, what is an ESP actually? What am I missing? What is an ESP specifically? High temperature nozzle. Can't be fixed or rebuilt on the key. That's the dirty secret. Are you sure about that, Crafted? I'll bet I can modify it. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I'm good at. Yep. I mean, yeah. I mean, how much did you spend on that Haas, though? So the thing is, I think this is going to be plenty stiff for cutting aluminum. What the limiting factor here is going to be coolant, right? So I might be able to, well, of course I'll be able to rig up my air compressor to supply enough coolant, or cool air to help me with cutting aluminum. But there's a reason that professional machines spray like an oil coolant or a water-based coolant on the part as you're cutting. It helps clear the chips, and it also keeps your bit from overheating, and overheating bits go dull, and it also lessens the vibrations. You know, those really high-pitched vibrations, but those vibrations are where chattering comes from. So of course it's not going to fix chattering altogether, but it can help alleviate it. So there's all kinds of reasons to run coolant. And this machine just sitting on my desk, even if it's sitting on my workbench, it's like, how do you cool it? So now you need a whole other system where you have this like metal enclosure and the spring, and then this like pan that catches the coolant and then filters it and recycles it back up to the sprayers. And that's like, that system there would cost more than this machine, this whole machine. So again, this is just like it's like the Ender 3. That's what I'm looking for. The Ender 3 of CNC machines. Where's the minimum viable product? Where's the thing that like will get the job done? It's not a professional thing, but if you want to start CNCing, it's fully capable, and you don't want to go any lower. You don't want to spend any less money. This is the minimum viable machine to buy. That's what I'm looking for in a CNC machine, and I think this might fit the bill. Bye, Fabio. Thanks for stopping by. I mean, look into this, Ghost. It's you might. I mean, I know it's hard to get things in Brazil. My sister was an exchange student to Brazil, and she went back to visit them, and one of her friends wanted her to bring a mountain bike. She tried to bring a mountain bike on her packed luggage, and then they basically, there's some shady stuff happening there in the airport. It took her like 2 months to get her mountain bike back, and she could never import it into Brazil without paying some insane taxes. So yeah, it's hard to get things in Brazil. I know it's tough. There's a lot of corruption in the government there. Use a spray bottle. Yeah, but then you're sitting here spraying the whole time you're cutting. I mean, they do have that mist. You can mist it with water as you cut, but this is that particle board we saw when I was first, opening this up. So tape is peeling this particle board off, a little bit of water on this, and so you're going to need a new sub bed here, a new spoil board. Well, there's a company coming out of, okay, so Crafted, there's a company coming out of Colorado that's making a multi-color or multi-material, like multi-print head. And also they've got a CNC head attached to it. The 3D printer nerd, he did I forget their name, but he did a tour of their factory. So if that's what you're interested in, the problem is indexing, right? I mean, that's a big thing that this printer is going to struggle to do, and that is precisely locating your part in order to cut it. Like, it'll cut wherever you tell it to cut, but what if your part is slightly crooked, or if it's slightly off? So I don't think you're going to do a lot of that. It's going to be too frustrating. I don't think you're going to post-process your prints with it. Yeah, Crafted, I've got single flute bits. I don't know what they sent me. I've got single flute bits for my other one. I keep breaking them. They're more weak. They do clear chips better. But even with that, I found that I still needed my air compressor to blow to clear the chips away. So yeah, the two fluted bits are stronger. I mean, this is a delicate balancing act. This is where CNC machining gets really challenging. CNC even just, well, I mean, cutting wood and foam is not too challenging, but Hi, Rachel. Nice to see you. One of my nicest fans. Yeah, so all we have here is some little engraving bits. I don't know, maybe I'll cut a PCB today or something. Is that all that they sent me? Is a bunch of engraving bits? Yeah. Yep. I mean, I have a ton of bits out there in the garage for other projects, but they clearly just want me to engrave something today. Maybe that's all we're gonna do. So yeah, it's these little these things. Focus. Camera. Come on. There you go. See it? So it's just a really simple bit. It breaks fairly easily, but it's basically just meant to put a little line. So like these parts here that I did on that little tiny machine, the 1,000,000 view machine, those were done with an engraving bit. So you basically just kind of cut the surface, reduce the feed. Well, funny thing is that will work with wood. But there's an optimal. You got to tune it when you're cutting metal. You can't always just go slower with metal. You have to get it just the right speed and the right RPMs and all that. Well, beef or operator error. You know, you're going to get the most success the most quickly. You're going to feel successful and love your machine really quickly off the bat. Plus, these are cheap bits to ship, so they're not spending you. I mean, bits are expensive and easily broken. Hi, Blackhawk. Yeah, the machine's getting low. We're doing all right. So for those of you just joining us, you can scroll back through the timeline, catch back up here. I'm going to build here quietly for a few minutes so you can go back there and look. But I basically took apart this controller here, and the electronics are pretty impressive. They're looking really good. So I don't think that there's anything you're going to want to upgrade to except possibly Duet 3. Possibly. But I don't know if Duet 3 can handle 48 volts. And this has 48 volts going to the stepper motor. So I don't know. I think that's as upgraded as anybody's going to reasonably want. And I think that's pretty impressive for the money to get that good of a control board and a whole electronics cabinet, the whole 9 yards. I know. I love Duet Crafted. I love it, love it, love it. I mean, to me, that's what the Duet 3 is for. You could build these, like, there's some enormous 3D printers out there that do all kinds of crazy stuff, like that printer that I was talking about from Colorado that I can't remember the name of. Those guys, that is also a CNC machine. That's got to run a Duet 3. But for most of our printers, Duet 3s or even Duet 2s are overkill, which is why they've got a new board coming out. It's like an upgraded version of the Duet Maestro, and that's the perfect board for office. It's going to save us some money, and it's going to be everything we need for 3D printers. But the Duet 3 is really just it's for this. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see how these stock electronics perform. I am feeling parched. I think I'm going to have to go get some water. Be right back, guys. I'm going to get some water. Mabushi brush motor. This is the controller. Well, the cutter. Those do seem like they could be brushed terminals, don't they? Now I want to take this apart. Look what you got me doing. It is what it is. If it's cheap and it works. There's no name on it though, so I don't know if it's Mabushi. It's probably a knockoff of that even. Yeah, right? In fairness, I didn't break the other thing. I just sort of disassembled it and reassembled it, which is what I was trying to do, right? Oh, come on, Michael. I think you jinxed me. There we go. I mean, brushless motors are impressive, but I think there's a time and a place for brushed. Like, is it possible? I mean, I bet they're using this because it's less expensive for more power and a smaller package. So the brushes, we're going to get a bunch of carbon dust. But yeah, should look that up. I'm not an electronics expert. I just sort of figure it out as I go. Okay. Yeah, I can't. Once again, I cannot say how cool it is. Cannot express how, like, it's just so cool that they've given me a pill box. Every 3D printer company should be shipping their bolts in a pill box. That's the best thing I've ever seen. Ever in my whole life. Inches. I think I'll be going back over these bolts with Loctite at some point. So it's possible that they could have designed this so that the motor sits closer in. The more cantilevered off the front you are, the more forces are going to be racking in here. So stiffness is the absolute most important goal of a CNC machine. So this part here could possibly have been redesigned better to sit in. There's this little C channel. So I don't know. I think this is the first thing I really disagree with. I wish that was more in there, just to have that cantilevering force to limit that. But it's probably not going to be tragic. It's just something I would have done better. Oh, interesting. Get 48 volts on the removing the diode D3 and pad the cathode. How cool. Yeah, Blackhawk, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Although, in theory, if it was infinitely stiff, it could be lightweight. It's just that the heavy weight helps with inertial dampening instead of inertial. Yeah, it's like the forces being pushed on the spindle end. Like what if you ran into something, had a bump? It's not gonna. The machine being so heavy, the machine doesn't have to have the belts and the lead screw and the flexing and all that resisting it. It's just the heaviness that resists the bump. It's just inertially doesn't want to move. So if you could make it infinitely stiff everywhere and have your motion system be perfectly strong with absolutely no flex anywhere, then you don't need the heaviness. So rigidity is more important than weight. But rigidity and weight tend to go hand in hand. So yeah, I mean, I think it's more about rigidity than weight, but weight certainly helps. Yep, Curtis, I agree. All right. So what are we doing here? What's interesting is I've got this little. Oh, that's your Z limit switch. Okay. I can probably start plugging things in, but I don't. I guess I got to bring the wiring in. Probably that's the next step. We got wiring coming. I really wish I could play music for you guys. Maybe I should get a playlist of like for my next live broadcast, a playlist of copyright free music. What? This part is already assembled, but I guess I got these little brackets to put on there. Yeah, that's on there. Okay. Ah, understood. We're using 4M5 by 6. If you guys go back and watch the I like watch. Yeah, I should do that. Um, if you guys go back and watch that million view video of the little CNC machine, you can see that kit. That was the most intense kit I've ever built. It was just nothing but parts. This one's at least partially assembled. And it's not a bad build. It's really not. And the instructions are really good. So props to them for all of that. Yep, gone to the dark side. It's so funny because some people got insulted when I was saying that about subtractive manufacturing being the dark side, and I was like, well, duh, it's subtractive. Subtractive is negative. Negative is dark side, right? Like, but people who loved CNC machines were actually offended by that statement. Syed, I don't know. Maybe you missed the electronics. That was an interesting moment. I broke something, but then I fixed it. Yeah. Yep, I completely agree. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself. I mean, that's why the celebrities do these roasts, right? You need to be laughed at more. You gotta put people in their place. Here's what I'm looking at. I got these brackets on. That wants me to do the tray on the back side. Okay. Well, it's a little bit heavy. It's not as heavy as my Pebble Little Monster. That's on. Seems like I'm missing something. This is supposed to go on now, like this. It's supposed to go. Oh, it goes on the other side. That's so funny. What? Whoops. 4 bolts. I gotta undo 4 bolts. This whole gantry's gotta get flipped around. I got it on the wrong side. Yeah, speaking of comedy, I guess I haven't done the whole Spotify thing. I'm pretty much just a YouTube guy. And so Joe Rogan's he's on Spotify now. And I guess Dave Chappelle stopped by. He's been trying to get Dave Chappelle on his podcast for years. And Dave Chappelle stopped by. He was interviewing, or he had somebody else, and Dave Chappelle was just there for like the last hour. Dave Chappelle's got a free pass, right? Because he's got black skin and he's married to an Asian lady, so he can say whatever he wants to say. Except I guess he's not allowed to make fun of. Well, no. There are some groups he's not a part of, so apparently you're only allowed to make fun of the groups that you are a part of. Yeah, I mean, there's a fine line between bullying and comedy. But you gotta have comedy. You just gotta. Court jester. I mean, how long have we had comedians? Comedians, like, they're an important part of society. A lot easier to get this gantry on when you don't have the spindle motor attached to it. I gotta go. One thing about this machine, you see how I locate these rails with just a screw, just a bolt. So bolts make very poor locating devices. You need a pin with a tight tolerance hole. So there's also going to be trimming to be done on this printer, and I don't see any adjustment screws or anything like that to get it trimmed. So we're going to be like, if you really want to be precise about this, I mean, we're not machining metal. We're cutting, it's mostly for cutting wood. So the tolerances are going to be okay. But yeah, this is not even close to being back to whoever was saying about glad they have their, not an Onsworth, what do they have? One of those semi-professional CNC machines with coolant and all that. Those are going to have the tramming. They're going to have all that. I shouldn't say semi-professional. They're just low-end professional units. Oof. Almost there, guys. Judging by the number of bolts that I have left. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 bolts left. What's next? Whoops. Upside down once again. This is nice. I like these cables. Very professional looking. That's it for the screws. I think we're about ready to plug stuff in. Turn it on. They did a good job. There's all these different plugs, so you don't even have to look up, see what you're plugging in. It's just, if it plugs in, it goes together. Y limit, Y limit. Y1 motor. Whoa, I don't know where that one goes. That's interesting. Don't know where I'm supposed to route that. I can zip tie it up off of that. The Z motor and the X motor. There's a possibility you could cross-wire those. They have the same plug, but other than that, it's pretty easy. A little bit of tight close quarters in here for getting the spindle wires plugged onto the spade connectors. But it's doable. Everything looks good. Sweet. Am I done? We got these things for holding your work under the bed. I don't know what this little spoil board is for. I got a bunch of random tools. And this thing. I think I'm done. Ha! Sweet. Oh, hey, here's some more bits. I bet I got more bits that aren't the the engraving bits. Let's see what they sent me. I mean, they didn't send me these things. This is what everybody's going to get. This is the kit. Let's see what comes in the kit. Ooh, pretty. That's actually really cool. We got this needle fine bit. Oh my God, I'm going to break the crap out of that. That is a nice little bit kit. I'm really happy about that. And we got the ER11 collet. I should talk about that. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna do a cut. I think I'm gonna move it back. I gotta move it by the back corner of the room though, just to kind of keep the sawdust. They've got some predefined G code already. I think they tried to email me some G code as well. I should look into that for aluminum. And then I can also turn the computer on and lead you guys through a quick little. I mean, I could do an engraving project. I could do this again. This is basically pretty easy to do with Inkscape, which is it's pretty cool. Inkscape is like such a basic program, but you want to start off with the basics when you're into a project like this. If this is new to you, so I don't know. I think that would be. We'll see. We'll see. Switch it on and move it at least. Yeah. Okay, time to move it. There is a whole bunch of instructions for moving it as well. Okay, so we want to turn this. This. You guys can see that, okay. I would say this is not idiot proof, but they've gone to great lengths. If you're just a little bit careful, everything's labeled here. See it? Everything's labeled here. So we got labels on the wires and labels on the printed on the metal. So you just line it all up. You can follow the manual too, but pretty self-explanatory. X motor. X motor. Z limit. Y2 motor. Yeah, I could definitely build one of these again in about an hour or less. So it was the first one that takes so much time. And now my little pillbox here comes apart and I can put things in it. A little kit. Boom. All right. Yeah, that's one thing they could have done, I guess, to make a customer experience just a little bit better, is had some sort of a kit, like a little. I mean, I guess I could 3D print something. Why wouldn't I? I don't have many 3D printers, but you know, it'd be cool if they sent it from the factory with a little kit, like a little holder for the wrenches or something. Keep things organized. All right. Well, it's all in there. It's all plugged in. What do we need to double check? All those plugs are correct. I know that for certain. I plugged it all in there. I'm confident of my plugs because there's nothing that I could have done wrong there. I'm not going to short anything out. I took that apart, but I put it all back together correctly. This is not plugged in yet. I think we're ready. Let's turn it on. It says menu, files or control. That's not gonna work. Maybe. All right, let's do that. Ooh, that works. This is our control box. I've got move, 0xyz, Z probe, reset, return, unlock, set probe, home. That's pretty cool. So can I reset? Let's reset. Alarm. That's interesting. How about if I go back? How do I go back? Well, I'm homing the machine. The Z stepper motor is wired in backwards. What's it doing? Oh, I triggered the. Let's turn this back on. Okay, so a couple of things just happened there. The Z was at the top of its travel. And so what it tries to do is it tries to lift the Z before homing the Z. So that was an issue. I triggered the Y end stop here just because I didn't want to wait for it to home. And so after it does a rough pass on the Y, it then does a fine pass. So it was trying to do all that. So let's just do that whole home procedure again. That's going to be oops. That'll make things faster. Okay, let's home it. So there's your Z. Rough. Yeah, see it. It's just not triggering the Z for some reason. I had to trigger that by hand. It triggered it on the rough path, but not on the... There we go. Okay, so I think I'm just going to loosen these two screws and twist the Z end stop just a hair. It's funny because there's a Z max and a Z min end stop on this machine, which is nice attention to detail. Let's try it one more time. When in doubt, power cycle it. Touch probes. Yes, it does. It does come with one of the touch probes, Ghost. It's right here. Pretty cool. What is going on here? But see, now if I trigger it, so if I trigger that by hand, then it finishes Z. All right, I'm going to make the motor skip, and I'm going to cheat just a little bit. Grab my pliers and bend this arm up just a hair. Yeah, see, now it won't home either. I don't know why it doesn't want to home again. It's doing the same thing again. So it's not about triggering the switch. It's like it doesn't have enough current. That's bizarre. What a bizarre thing. Well, that's unfortunate. So what's going on is I helped it right there when it was trying to home Z. I helped it at the last moment. It's like the motor's skipping, so it's not getting enough current when it's trying to do the fine Z homing at the top. And I bent this. I'm gonna bend it back now. So it can't be like, it's definitely got enough travel to activate that Z end stop. So, power off. Yeah, that's crusty. There's a lot of resistance in that. So I think I just need to work on that axis. You know what? Hey, Michael. We got this Tink Seal stuff that Michael sent me. Pretty good stuff. He'll chime in the comments hopefully. So I think I'm going to use this. It's like, it looks like grease, but it's technically like a dry lube or something. So it's fancy stuff. It works great on this kind of thing, according to Michael. So this will be my first time trying it. Yeah, there's just a lot of resistance there. It could be the anti-backlash nut. Of course there's going to be resistance because of the anti-backlash nut. You'd think this NEMA 23 motor would have enough torque to lift that, though. This isn't that hard. It's just the controller is sending very little current at that moment. No, I mean, 3D Printing Guru, it's wired the right way because it does the rough pass. So it's rough passing homing, and then it's trying to do the fine pass, the real slow motion pass to really dial in that and get that, the tolerance is perfect. And it's the slow motion pass that it's struggling with. Here, I'll show you guys again. Crusty. Oh, I also got the this looks like it's rubbing. Is that rubbing? Yeah, that's rubbing. That's probably my problem. Is that my problem? So this is sitting, this is what's driving that. And that sits down there, so that should not be hanging from there. Okay. I don't need much of a gap, but I need a little gap. And the funny thing is that this just wants to drop right back down as soon as I let that off. There's like, it's under pressure somehow. So, yep, I'm gonna have to do more disassembling. It would be nice to have audio, but then I might get more distracted. It was funny. I tried to do a live CAD thing the other day. I'm like, I spent so many hours in CAD, you guys, and with Rhino, I'm really quick at it. But yeah, doing it live and trying to talk to you guys, it just did not work. I couldn't work. So I do need a certain level of silence to think. Isn't there? So this, from what I understand about okay, so 3D printing guru, the lead screw here, the Acme threaded screw, is supported at the top and the bottom by bearing blocks. So those should be pinched there, and that should be immovable from this flange to the flange underneath. And so this should be floating off the flange. It shouldn't have anything to do with supporting the lead screw. So I don't understand. Yeah, there we go. So maybe it's just bottoming out. So there's a possibility that the stepper motor shaft is too long and the coupler is bottoming out. Well, the fun thing about this for you guys is you're watching me troubleshoot in real time. Normally, you just see the solutions. You never see them, how they pop up for the reviewers. There we go. Perfect. Okay, that'll work. Carp. Where'd that go? Ugh. Yeah, so I think I'm going to go over this machine when, after I'm done doing this, and just check every connection and just try to get everything. There was that racking on the Z gantry, or I should say on the Z axis where it mounts to the Z gantry or the X gantry. So, I just think there's not a lot of quality control as far as tensioning goes. And so I'm going to need to double check their work, the factory's work. Oh yeah, much better. Oh, of course I'm not even. Of course it's better. I'm not connected to the Z screw yet. Yeah, that's better. A lot better. I'm gonna put Michael's tint seal on there. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna avoid that because I might get dust on there. We'll see. Later. What's a shade tree mechanic? I have angle grinders. And an expensive hammer. Well, that's interesting. Perfect. There we go. Problem solved. Now to fine. All right. Movement works. Homing works. You know what I wonder? I wonder if they sent me a cut file. We've got two files. One is 4040h2h.tap, and the other is cnc.tap. Wheel. Wheel. Okay, so I just tried sending the 4040.tap file and it just moved to the top. It says 0% complete and it's not moving. It probably wants me to set the probe. That's what it's waiting for. It's waiting for me to get the probe right. Yes, Black Hawk, you figured it out too. Right, yeah. Well, I don't have a bit in there, so I can't put an apprentice mark in there yet. Yeah, I tried writing it, Daniel. I tried doing a without a bit in there. Let's put the bit that I care the least about right here. One of these engraving bits. The ER11 collets are kind of nice. I like them. Way better than the collet that came, the non-collet, the little screw dealie that came on the that machine I reviewed 3 years ago that's got 1 million views on it. Oh, I didn't even need to do this. So I can short this out and pretend like it's doing it by just going tap, tap, tap. Because all you do is put this here, like so, and you put that down there, and as soon as it touches, it makes electrical contact. All right. Homing once again. You guys a good listen to what it does when it homes. I've got a set probe button. Okay, that works. So I should move it. Z plus, no. Well, my moves are not working. And it is locked. Interesting. See, this is off the front of the bed here, so I can't just actually get it to probe. That's okay. You know what? I'm just gonna fake a probe there. It's all locked up. Home doesn't work. Nothing works. All right. Why does nothing work? So if I recycle it, like if I power cycle it here, see what I'm saying, you guys? Advanced CNC, you know, way more advanced than 3D printing. Control. Home. So that's homed. Now I should be able to move. There we go. There we go. Nice. Okay, return. Okay, now I should be able to do Z probe. Nice. Okay, getting somewhere. I didn't really tighten this down. Of course, tightening it down is going to change the depth of it, but whatever. Okay, so it's been homed, it's been probed, so it should know everything that it needs to know. I should be able to. Oh, you know what though? I haven't been able to get the. I'm gonna turn the spindle on yet. Spindle laser speed. I've got my spindle minus going to spindle minus, and spindle positive going to spindle positive, and those are plugged in. Should be able to spin that spindle. It's funny, the label is The label is spindle laser. It turns the spindle on. And then the spindle speed here is the knob. All right. You know what I want to do though? I do not want to be cutting into the spoil board. So I do have a random piece of plywood here that I thought I might do a test cut on. That's pretty warped though. Ugh. What about the other piece? Alright, let's try this. Turn that off for now. Grab these things. Then, you know what's surprising? How expensive these stupid, you try to find those on eBay. They're really expensive, way overpriced. And there goes my camera. My camera has overheated. Okay, well, how many hours have we been broadcasting? Just remove the bit and run it. Yeah, that could be. But Daniel, I'm gonna try to get the thing to cut. Yeah, I know. The camera itself overheated. You hear that blowing? That's me blowing on the camera trying to cool it down. ER11 collets. Yeah, I got one of those too from my other CNC. This one comes with it. The difference between this motor and the one that you're getting is this one has brushes. You probably got a brushless motor. I know you guys can hear me. The camera overheated. Over 3 hours. Yeah. At least I got a long broadcast in before the camera already overheated. I can always mount a fan to this camera too. We'll see. Yeah, it's really not liking me. It does come back on. It just takes a minute. Go stick it in the freezer. So give me a few minutes, you guys. I'm going to go stick this camera in the freezer and get a quick snack. Sorry that you won't have anything to view. But just so that everybody knows what's going on, I'm going to leave the spindle on. That's horribly annoying though, isn't it? Here, we'll give it a nice... There we go. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to get this camera cooled down. And yeah, new band up video. Yeah, for my camera, for my JD. I will be professional at some point, you guys. I will have a studio. I've got the budget for it. I'm renting at the house here, so I can't be spending money trying to make this room into a real studio. Okay, I'll be right back, you guys. I'm gonna get a bite to eat and I'm gonna stick this in the freezer for a few minutes. I'm back, you guys, but you can't see me yet. Gotta get that camera going again. Ta-da! Blackhawk, what did I help you decide? Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I'm going to be fogged up on the lens because it was in the freezer. I do think I am going to do a dry run though, because I don't know what it's cutting. So let's just take this bit out of there so we don't have any sharp spinny thing. If we get a collision, I think it should just skip the motors. Stepper motor should just sort of miss skips. And as long as I don't have a sharp bit spinning at RPMs, I have no idea what this cut file is going to do. But I can just watch it move. All right, let's try it. Return files. Oh, come on. The camera crapped out again. And right at the wrong time, too. Crafted, you're taking into a pusher. Yeah. Oh. I can take a joke. Yeah, you guys. Prusa's printers are very well polished. They're fine. They're a little overpriced. I really wish that I could have cooperated with Prusa. So it's just, things didn't go that way. And yeah, it is what it is. But no, that is a good joke. I just have problems when I'm Oh yeah, it's a Prusa camera. Yeah, you guys, I just can't. Oh, you know what I could do? I know what I could do. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, let's try it. Because the problem is the camera is going to keep overheating. And when I throw it in the freezer, it comes out of the freezer and the lens is going to get all fogged up. But I do have my other camera. My fancy DSLR. So theoretically, I can plug this one into the same plug. So let's try this. Can you guys hear the printer or the CNC machine going in the background? It's a trying. Of course. Of course, it's a full-size HDMI cable instead of the micro HDMI like I have on this one. Yeah, I mean, so the problem is I can't start broadcasting with my... Wow, I'm really clipping for you guys. I can't start broadcasting for you guys with my phone midstream. So I can plug the camera and plug a different camera into the same cable, and that will work. Yeah, see, I need an HDMI cable. I'm gonna go dig up an HDMI cable, so I'll be back in 5 minutes again. Hold on a second. Ha! There we go. It's my fancy camera. I guess I can't get the feed to go away. What do Yep. Yep, I got volume. I think we might get a collision this time. We'll see. Right there. Oh, it just cleared. Well, it's moving. So that's just now a problem of G-code. And I think that is a subject for another video. That's going to collide for sure. Oh, God. Yep. Here we're going to press the E-stop. E-stop works. This was about to collide with that, and I didn't want that to happen. And I accidentally clicked the, this is ridiculous. All right. All right. What do you guys think? I think it's time to end this stream. Yeah, I would have crashed on the fixture, but I e-stopped it. Okay. This is actually a Panasonic GH5. And look, you guys can see the focus marks. Yeah. Well, I could come back later on today and do another live stream about making a CNC cut file. Might be, I don't know. I don't think it's worth it. So look for that in the actual video. Yeah, Bluebeard. If I go out of focus, then the blue will disappear. There you go. Slightly out of focus. All right. Blue hair, right? It's gotta dye the gray blue. I think I'm gonna say goodbye, you guys. I think we're gonna call it quits. You guys saw it working. It was running that. Let me see what this looks like for you guys. Actually, this is kind of cool. Let me show you guys the interface, and then we'll call it quits. Okay, so I can abort this. I did the e-stop, so I can undo the e-stop, so now it would start again. But I basically have the control menu. Yep, you can see it. Home, move, so home does what you expect it to do. Hey kiddo, will you shut the door, please? Say hi to everybody. You're eating chocolate? Okay, so yeah, I know chocolate, but it's chocolate. Okay, so we have home. What we're doing. Do I love chocolate? I do love chocolate. Blackhawk, thank you, man.
Chocolate on my kitchen. I can make you chocolate on my kitchen.
I would like that. I love the taste of chocolate.
Okay, so I will make you one.
Okay.
I will make you a cup of chocolate. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, back to what we were looking at here. We've got home, which we just did. We've got move. So all these move. The touch sensitivity is a little bit sensitive. It's not too bad. I can change the steps. So there's 1 millimeters, 10 millimeters. So that's important. This is the return button to get us back. I don't know what that button does. It doesn't seem to actually affect anything because when you turn the spindle on, this is the speed control. So yeah, speed control. Pretty cool. and return. Then we just have the that Z probe button. You guys saw me do that part. Unlock basically turns off all of the stepper motors so you can move it around manually. Reset, I think just resets the whole control board, and then you have the files menu. So we have 2 print files currently. I don't know why they're in a .tap format. That's interesting to me. I'll have to look into that. So yeah, that's where it's at. A plate of chocolate? A plate of pretend chocolate. Thank you, kiddo. All right.
I made it for you.
You made it just for me. That's awesome. Oh yeah, right. how to get motion sickness watching YouTube. Trying. I mean, I didn't have a thing set up for this. All right, so we're gonna end it there. You guys have seen it moving. It's a good machine. I'm looking forward to it. So look forward to the real video, and we will see it cutting. The plan is that I'm going to cut a guitar body. So that's going to be the first big project. All right. Well, see you later, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.